Hello everybody and welcome back to Space Engineers, where today, well hopefully it should be quite obvious what we're doing today. We're going to be messing around with tank tracks, because who doesn't like tank tracks and who doesn't like to mess with Clang in Space Engineers? Well hopefully we're not going to be messing around too much Clang and hopefully these work. But in today's video, we're going to be showing off some of the updates I have done in tank track making since the last video. And holy mackerel, this world is laggy. I feel like I'm on the moon. Note to self, don't have way too many sets of tracks in one world. It struggles. It struggles quite deeply. Alright, let's get on to the video and let's go to where this whole business started, shall we? Alright, so our journey starts far, far away from where it ends. At this little platform here, and this is where I started messing about with a couple of different things. First of all, this is where this mechanism came from. Now this is a sprocket which I made using hinges to try and add grip to tracks. Not in a sense of grip with the connection of a floor to the tracks themselves, but to the thing which powers the tracks to move forward or backwards to the actual tracks. So I was trying to mess around with all different shapes you can see here, and try and work out a way that I could use a simple track in a groove to be able to work. You know, over here I've got a slightly different one. So this is where it actually first started, and this idea was I would put these little rods here, into these grooves. Ended up not working too well, and that's where we came up with the second design. I also wanted to mess around and try and see if I could get actual wheels on the tracks themselves. And that's for one main reason. On wheels you can change the friction level. Right there. Which means, if I set that to 100, this wheel is creating a lot more friction than a block wheel, I believe. The main problem with that is I never got too far with this because it sticks up quite far. I need to try and come up with a couple of different methods to see how I can make this work a little bit better. The other problem is, with the rotation point being directly above that, these are always going to be at a weird angle. So almost I need the rotation point to be between them, and then the wheels connect to that. So we're not going to be doing that, but that's a future thing I want to mess around with. I hope you're following so far. The next thing I would be messing about with is a little bit more going on from this design, and that's me just trying to make it work a little bit better. This whole mechanism is a little bit movie. Oh, it's gone. Oh god, where's it gone? Where did it go? Oh no. I had a sprocket in there and it was moving around. I think it might have climbed out and left. Okay, that's fine. So for example, this is a track piece which this sits in. It doesn't have any of the fancy grip types, it's just a simple everyday sprocket. And if I move over to here, you'll sort of see it actually in place. So it's designed just to sit in the into this sprocket and then grip into these little notches here. So what this basically means, if I come back here, is it alternates between the tooth of the blast door and where the sprocket sits. Tooth where the sprocket, tooth where the sprocket. And that means you don't have to, you know, stick anything up or like you don't have to have any distance. It's quite clean. And if this one's actually on a, you know what, let's see. I add a little bit more lag to my world and place one here. There we go. So if I disconnect a track, so you need to disconnect it to be able to actually spawn it in. You know, they have to be together when they're spawned in, so you have to have a way of actually detaching them. If I make sure this one's off, and it's got no rotor lock, cool. If I go to this side and I make sure it is on, and I give it a little bit of movement. Let's go full speed. Let's go full 60 RPM. you'll see here, it is spinning without any problem whatsoever. So the tracks actually grip in nice and cleanly, and then on the other end they also leave the notch nice and cleanly. It goes over a couple of bogies, which I'll actually show you how I made these in a second, and then goes back into the other side one where it grips back into place, and then carries it over. And it's actually a really, really nice and actually fairly clang-friendly design. If I just turn this off. You sort of see it's actually quite free in the sense of it takes a little bit to actually slow down. There we go. So the actual bogie I'm using is this, and the main reason I wanted to mess about with that was, one, because you'd have a little bit of suspension in the actual design. So like, you know, each one has a suspension as well as it being on a bogie. It also means I can make a custom type wheel, which in hindsight I don't really need to do, because these aren't so much, these don't really need to be guide wheels, but I guess I could. I just built it because it was cool. The main problem is it has an offset, which I have to counteract with the rotor, because with having this block here, you're half a block out. Yes. So, first iteration actually works quite nicely, and it doesn't even gives me the ability to make some really cool wheel covers if I wanted to. This is just me messing around with the different angles, and I particularly like this middle part. Who doesn't like a good old spiral? It makes me wonder if I can make a custom door using something like this. I'll have to mess about. Having a spiral door which opens like that could be really, really cool. But that's distractions. Let's get back to the video, shall we? So this is a little vehicle I used when building the tracks, because you chuck the tracks on top and then you get one to spin, and so it, whilst it's on the floor, it grips, pushes it along, and then when it's the other side, I use it to attach it. So just a small little vehicle I used to do that. And then over here, I duplicated it. I didn't even build a second one, so if you see, that's the one on that side. It's got nothing there. That's got that one there, and that's got the thing there. Yeah, I literally just duplicated it, flipped around, and it worked. Amazing. And this was where I was just sort of seeing how well it might actually work. So I made lots of different copies of it just to make sure things don't blow up. And I'm not going to test this one because this one's all nicely locked into place. But you're going to mess about with it a little bit later on in this video. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to mess about with briefly was this design. And this is mainly because someone challenged me to see if I can make a small track design. And so far, not much luck. I'm trying to use a sprocket which looks a little bit like this, where it just has some spikes in the middle, and then uses this. And you may be asking, why don't you just use like a sprocket like that, but smaller? It's very difficult to get the rotors small enough where something can still fit between them, like between these gaps here. And I might be able to make something work, but I don't know. We'll have to. This is still a work in progress. Like, these videos aren't finalized designs. These are just showing you through the process of how I design these tracks. So as you can see here, this is a actual bare design. This one hasn't got any other tracks. It's just the base frame. Over here, I've been messing around with a load of different track designs for this thing, because at first I was like, maybe I could use, was it this one over here? Which used blast doors? Yeah. Maybe I can use blast doors, but the problem with that is they can't turn that steeply without colliding, so that's where I moved on to something a little bit thinner, where I moved on to just these angled pieces. And that seems to get a little bit better of a corner. If I push this in, you can sort of see it can hug the wheel a lot better. Am I strong enough? Not quite. Close. There we go. You can see it can grip this wheel much better, so we're making progress on that, but again, that's not fully done. There's another one. I don't know why I have so many just sat around. I really need to sort it out a little bit. But this is where I got to with this small design. If I was to... Actually, I don't even need that. If I was to find out... Oh, actually, this was a slightly different design. Right. So here's another small design which I made. And this used a weird double wheel suspension thing. So I don't think I have a copy of it. Don't think I do. So this uses the wheel suspension to be able to torque or to tension the actual suspension arm. So if I was to come here, is this the one? Right, so one of these has strength and one of these has no strength. So you can see no strength there. Which means if I change the height, so it's like -10 now, you can see this whole arm can be tensioned. And I thought that was a really, really cool design. And then what I can do is if I go to the rotate drive and actually toggle this on and give it a little bit of force in the right direction, it spins around. And that just keeps it torqued quite nicely, in an interesting, different way. The only problem I have at the moment, which I haven't worked out a way to fix, is it's a little bit... You can see all the dust coming off. It keeps getting stuck right on that last little bit. So I'm going to see if I can make that better, but you know how it is. It takes time. Everything in this game takes a long, long time. Anyway, let's turn that back off. This one spins for ages. Is it ever going to stop? Did I actually stop it? Is it ever going to stop? Alright, let's try and... let's set that to 0 and try and toggle this on just to see if I can... There we go, break it. Oof. And goes forever. Another fun thing, other than just actually making something with... making a track, is you can make like a lift. Now these lifts in... I can't remember what country, I'll see if I can find something about it. Put it on screen, but there's this lift which works on 2 mechanisms, and it's a constantly moving lift where you have to basically quickly hop on to the lift and then it takes you up to where you need to be. Obviously you'd have some kind of track to make sure the floor isn't moving, but it's a constantly moving lift design which literally just uses a gear, like a massive gear system like this, and then at the top you would be able to get off. And then if you wanted to go on the other side, you would wait until the floor came round. Like that. And then you'd quickly hop onto the lift. And then it would take you down. And I thought this was just a really fun, different mechanism using just, the track which I created. Ooh-wee. Bonk. But now is what you guys wanted to see. You want to see this design work, so I'm going to chop off the tracks as here, chop off the tracks here. Whoops. I think my mouse is being a bit weird because it keeps double deleting stuff when I don't mean it to. So, yeah. And this is what I've got. I haven't created a WSD converter yet. If you guys have any good ways of actually making them, I'd love to hear, because I've been messing about and I haven't quite managed to get there yet. So I have independent track movement, you can see. And if I move it, this is the slowest speed. And then if I increase it just a little bit, see, it'll get some speed. And let's see, has it got enough torque to actually climb up this, or is it going to slide? Because this is quite steep, you can see. Also, don't worry about the massive vehicles in the background of this world. It's got the power. It's got the power to spin the tracks, but not enough grip on the tracks to actually lift it up. That's where, right at the start, that them wheels sitting in it comes from. That's why I want to build something like that. Hmm. Alright, let's fully reverse it. Like that, nice. Alright, so let's increase this one to go forward. That way we get a little bit of turning. You know, it's proper tank steering and all. And then let's get that to full stop. And then let's create some little bumps, shall we? Some little bumps for it to drive over. Because this is a tank, it should be able to, you know, drive over stuff. It should be able to do some stuff. Alright, so I've made a little course here. So it's a couple of bumps just to test the suspension out. And then a bit of a gap and another one, which leads it up here. And then it goes into a trench. Because one thing tanks were always, you know, designed for was to drive through trenches. So this is a 3-block gap between these two. Let's see if it can drive this course. I think it should do pretty well. Now this, compared to a normal vehicle, is always going to have the advantage with it having the tracks. No vehicle can really drive over trenches that easily unless it's a lot of wheels close together, but that, you know, almost makes a track, doesn't it? So let's drive it along here. Alright, so let's get these spinning. There we go. So over the first little bump, you can sort of see the little guiding wheels, maybe. Come on. There we go. See the guiding wheels doing their thing. And I also want to make it clear that I'm in a world where damage can happen. So at any point here, a track could, you know, explode off. But because I've used blast doors, they have quite a lot of force in keeping it all nice and tight together. As you can see, guiding wheel little bogies are keeping it nice and supported. Now this is the main challenge. Can it cross the trench? Oh, it's managed to cross it. There we go. So now most vehicles won't be able to cross a trench like that. Good job, tank. Good job. Now, if you guys ever have any challenges for me, and you want me to build something, 2 ways of doing it, 2 ways of contacting me. First of all, leave me a comment on one of the videos. I always try to read the comments and reply if I can. But the other way is to actually join the Discord. I have a community Discord server where you guys are completely free to join. And there you can talk to me and actually set me challenges, which one guy did. Which I haven't quite finished yet, but, you know, I'm making progress onto it. But, you know, at some point, I will try and do the challenges that you guys... If it's a good challenge, I may even make a video on it. I also leave little sneak peek bits of footage or future videos or just fun things which aren't going to make a video on there, little pictures. And we also have a great community there of over 200 people posting their designs and their things they do in Space Engineers. It's really cool. So if you guys want to join a Space Engineers community server, I recommend joining mine. Link in the description down below. But what do you guys think of this design? I think it's pretty cool. I don't think it's very survival friendly. I think it still needs quite a bit of work to compact it maybe a bit, or just I'm starting to get to a point now where it's fairly functional, so I'm quite happy. But yeah, I definitely want to try and find a way of having grips. I feel like I could replace these with the wheels and have air grips, but we'll just have to see. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to post these onto the Steam Workshop. I've been through it before, or people always ask me, hey, can you put this on the Steam Workshop? I want to mess about with it. And I always have to reply saying, sorry, no, I can't. And that's for one main reason. If I try to go, let's say, to a vehicle, so let's go for the Tank Track ID version 3, so this is this one. And if I wanted to upload it, publish it to the workshop, yes, I would like to upload this. It is on Steam, and let's say it is a rover, right? So let's do that. Uploading, please wait, please wait. Do. Steam error. Accessing services. Yeah, I can't publish. I don't know why I always get to say error no matter what. And I've messed about in settings with the different things. Like I know there is a setting in the game, is it? I think it's in the game. I think it's one of these enable cloud things. If I enable a cloud, then I have no access to my actual blueprints, I don't think. Or if I reload the world, I don't have access to my blueprints, and it doesn't allow me to actually upload things to the workshop either, so I have to leave it off. And then none of these other ones, I have blueprint share technically on, and I don't know. So if you guys have any suggestions of how I can fix that without fully uninstalling the game, which I've already done multiple times and hasn't fixed it, let me know. As always, my name's been Quantum Chief, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!